Hello, you're watching Telecom TV. We are at the OPNFV Summit 2016 here in Berlin in Germany, and I'm talking with Toby Ford, who is not wearing two hats but has two hats. First of all, he's with AT&T, so he knows all about this from the service provider's point of view, and he's also a board member of OPNFV itself. Toby, thanks for talking to us. Good to see you again.
Yes, thank you, Martin.
Pleasure. Now, OPNFV is going to be 2 years old in September. Toddler stage. Are you expecting any tantrums anytime soon?
No, not at all. Actually, we've been very surprised at the growth, especially if you look at the summit this year. We didn't quite expect as many people that have attended the Berlin summit here. So it's been an excellent demonstration of where we've come in the last 2 years.
Well, it's certainly evident how much you've grown. Walking around, it's a big deal this year, isn't it?
It is, yes, yeah.
Has it? Obviously, it's lived up to expectations. How do you think it's evolving? And also, how is AT&T involved?
Sure. So, in terms of its evolution, I think it's expanding as we've hoped to include a broader scope, more beyond just the infrastructure, but also into the actual network functions and how we orchestrate it. And then it's really demonstrating how something can be kind of the guide rails for us for what needs to be done, what's our requirements, our use cases, and then how to test it to make it something that actually works and is performant, but also part of an agile process, which has been great. The work that we've done this last year has been excellent on the various OPNFV releases. And for AT&T, to finish what you were asking, it acts as a lighthouse for us to guide us toward this belief that we could actually be on the same kind of cadence as the web companies, as the hyperscale companies. We need to get there, it's clear. To be valuable in the future, it's going to have to be more than bits. It's got to be about more valuable function and more combinations, more bundles, more integrations. And this is a way to kind of pull us forward. It's gravity toward the inevitable.
I like that. Thank you. Over the past couple of years also, there has been a large number of open source initiatives and new bodies that have appeared and taken shape, and it seems to me yet again an example of what happens in this industry more or less every time. There will be some pioneers, they will start things up, things will start to move, the hype cycle will build, and for better or worse, people jump on the bandwagon subsequent to that.
Sure.
First of all, do you think that number of bodies out there is actually too many now? And secondly, which of those organizations is AT&T participating in?
So the first question, definitely there's too many. We're getting into what they call, yet another project. And it's sort of inevitable with developers. You give them space to grow, and they'll do that. I mean, it's an essential part of innovation is being able to iterate into new innovations. So that's going to happen. But there has to be another cycle in the agile process. There's this also, as much as there's about iterating, there's refactoring and cleaning things up. And I think we're going to see some of that in the near future is rationalizing 2 or 3 of these into one. So I'm hopeful that happens. And I see OPNFV as actually helping to provide, as I said before, guide rails as to how and what to do and which ones to pick. Kind of makes a level playing field for us to try things and see where there's gaps, and then that would help us to identify which open source projects were meaningful or not. So OPNFV can be helpful that way.
Good. If anybody can, you should be able, coming from AT&T, to be able to name use cases and give us some real experience in using open source in the deployment of NFV for telcos.
Sure.
So tell us something about that.
Yeah, so the use cases we have in mind and that we've started on are very broad. It encompasses, our belief is that it has to encompass all workloads. Starting from our enterprise workloads, our back-end systems, our OSS, BSS, those have to be virtualized and really made cloud native. Then from there, we're working on the voice systems that we've had of the past, the mobility systems. Our integration of DirecTV and UVerse together into one platform, that's going to be based on this type of technology. So, and then as well, just networking, just the moving of bits is going to be transformed by this move that we're making. So the use cases are very broad. The device that the DVR or the kind of router that we bring to your office, these will also be transformed by the move to NFV.
Thank you. Now again, you should know about this if anybody does reference to AT&T. Do you think service providers are really ready for open source? We have examples of some that probably are, possibly are, will be, and some that aren't. And I'm not just talking about in terms of technique and technicality and technology, I'm talking about in terms of mindset and culture and organizational psychology. I know it's a mouthful, but what I'm saying is you might have experienced this within AT&T. Certainly other organizations are experiencing it now.
Yes.
The technology is one thing, being able to handle it organizationally is something completely different.
It is. It is a challenge, as is usual, both a challenge and an opportunity, right? The people and the processes that we've had of the past, that was not very conducive to open source or to contribution and then getting help from others. It was very much siloed. I live on an island, I do my own thing, and then whatever. This provides me differentiation. Now what we're recognizing is that our problems are all very similar, and we have new competitors that are moving much faster. So we have to work together. So that's helping us to change it to be more of an opportunity. But in general, the way that we've worked, especially with vendors, the way we've collaborated with them, relied on them, it has been very dependent on this sort of either licensing of hardware and software, of integrated hardware, and that's what we're wanting to break apart. We've seen others get a lot of benefit out of it, so we want to do that as well.
Okay. Staying with service providers, communication service providers, what, in your opinion, well, in fact, in your experience, do service providers want from open source in general, as a concept, as a?
Well, the gut reaction that you hear is oh, it's going to be cheaper. Now, unfortunately, that's not exactly how it works. It is over the long cycle, over the long term. It is afford you opportunity to not have to pay 18% maintenance or licensing forever, in perpetuity.
Yeah.
But really the part that's important is the value of innovation, of both generative innovation and then just collaborative innovation. Being able to build on what everyone else has done and then expand from there, that's a very important part of what we're doing. And in order to be competitive, we have to get onto that kind of growth pattern. Otherwise, we'll be stuck. And the same goes for just collaborative innovation. In the telco space, we all have to collectively find new services and then treat those as the core thing we work on, and treat the past of just the basics of bit moving and of keeping things reliable and customers happy. That, I think we'd all benefit if all the telcos would collaborate in a less redundant way.
AT&T has been spending a lot of time, effort, money, resources, R&D on providing network transformation, cloudification, NFV, SDN, etc. What's it like working there now? Has the mindset changed, and can you see how quickly this new network is going to become a part and parcel of the fabric of our everyday life?
It's very exciting to work at AT&T at this time. I mean, I think it's a rare case where the executives were way out in front of the people, and then they've been pulling us forward and then helping to clear the path to make it easier. John Donovan's vision for Domain 2, in our case, has been industry leading, and it's very exciting to work in that kind of organization. And the pivot that we've been putting in place to help people to go from legacy technique to the new techniques has been exciting as well. Just all of the especially using a lot of the online course facilities that are out there for learning, and using that internal to the business to try to get everyone to pivot has been very, very cool.
Interesting stuff. We'll see what happens over the next 12 months. Toby Ford, great to see you. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin.